That record holds now that the camera completely
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Grand Prix Podcast. I'm Elton, this is Andy.
Hello!
And we have the Japanese Grand Prix to report on this time round.
Oh, yes.
I found this quite dull. I'm going to go straight off the bat. This was dull.
I didn't find it that dull, to be honest.
Really?
I enjoyed it for the most part. It was, again, bit of drama. Drama's always a lot of fun. Would have preferred the drama played out on the track, but, you had that thread there. And, yeah, there was some bits and pieces. Verstappen was keeping Lewis honest, especially towards the end. I thought, it's good. We're gonna have something here. Fortunately, it didn't materialise, but, it kind of built up nicely. Plus, I just like Suzuka. I will happily watch cars just go around there all day long. Because it's just a fucking fun circuit to watch.
Yes, I love it. I love Suzuka. I like getting up early in the morning when the house is still asleep to watch the races. Even though I think I got up at 5 to watch this. And so at 8:30 time recording, kind of knackered now. Kind of starting to catch up on me. And looking forward to going to bed at midnight.
Right. See, that's why I woke up at 5:58.
Oh, well played. Well played. I've done that in the past where I've woken up just before, turned it on in bed and thought, I'll just watch the rest in bed. And then you end up, you're gone.
No, I managed to avoid that, but yeah, I did sit in bed on my laptop watching it because, yay.
Good man, good man. Well, I'm glad we got the initial impressions out of this straight away. I suppose we better give a warning to all the other people that are newly joining us. So thank you to all the new listeners that we do have. It's awesome to have you along. Yes, definitely. Just to give you a little spoiler, or not a spoiler, a warning. We are idiots. We like Formula One. We love Formula One. We're probably talking out of our arses.
There's no probably about it. I guarantee it.
We will be. And we will probably drop a couple of swears. So if you've got little kids around, maybe move them to a different room or save this for another time when they're not around.
Yeah. I will say, don't mistake enthusiasm for actual, intellect.
Yes, we adore Formula One and adore all the drivers, I must say. But we do have our favourites.
All the drivers?
Every single one of the current drivers.
Well saved, sir. Well saved.
So, yeah, I hope you enjoy. And fingers crossed, you'll stick around. If you do stick around, pop along to RogueTwoMedia.com. And we've got lots of other stuff there as well. And we'll give out lots of links at the very end of this show, just so we can tap you in the correct places. So, between last race and this race, we've only had a week worth of grace, really, haven't we?
Pretty much, yeah. Not a huge amount of time has passed between the two.
Yeah, so
obviously not a huge amount of time for shenanigans to ensue.
Yeah.
But again, the circus being what it is, it still managed to get a couple of bits in there. So let's see. So obviously, just mention Sebastian Vettel did not get a gearbox penalty after his little bumpity bump with Lance Stroll.
Interesting.
Well, I don't know if you did you watch The Notebook? Did you see that?
What I've heard is the gearbox was taken back to Italy, and the outer casing was replaced, but all the internals were not.
Yeah, basically the bit which is the actual gears is called a cassette, and that was fine. And the regulations are that is the bit that you have to use for 6 races. Now, it used to be that the gearboxes were just single units. You couldn't swap out the components as such. Mm-hmm. But once the team started realizing, you might take a bang on the back end, the cassette itself is fine, but you've got to replace the gearbox because a mounting point's broken, they were fucked. So some of the teams, not all of them apparently, but some have made it so that you can just swap out the cassette piece. So that's what they've done.
So that's the
Charlie
part that's
said
sealed.
Yeah, Charlie said that's always been the rule. It's just now the teams are interpreting it in that way now, and that's fine with him.
Okay, good. Okay, that clears something up then. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, was there anything else he says, having a quick look through? Haas apparently seeking compensation from a Malaysia Grand Prix circuit for the damage to Grosjean's car after it hit a drain pump. It went popped up.
Fair play.
Don't know if that's going to go anywhere. You know, I just put that down to occupational hazards.
Yeah, it's if it's welded down at the time of opening up the circuit, then really it's just one of them things, isn't it?
Well, they did go around and they inspected all of the drain covers and they all seemed fine. I think it's partly a combination of, again, age and also the fact that these cars are presumably putting out a lot more downforce than last year's ones. So.
Stickier tyres as well. So
that could potentially do that. Will drivers' talk come under this, or do you want to do that in a bit?
Okay. I think we should do it how it happened over the weekend, maybe.
Okay. Well, I wasn't privy to that because I was playing dress up, as is my want. So you'll have to take the lead on that one.
Well, okay. What would you like to actually turn around and say then? Is it what colour are the cars that
let's
people drive?
Let's just say someone was going from blue to yellow and someone was going to yellow to fuck off.
Right. Yeah, go for it, man. Go for it now.
Well, no, I think you should because, again, as you mentioned, you like all of the current F1 drivers. Emphasis on the current.
I do feel really bad. We did actually get an email from
Jolyon?
No, not from Jolyon. Yeah, asking if he can be a chauffeur. if I've got a driver going. Apologies if I do get this name wrong, but he's Dino Fantozzi. Fantozzi, maybe. Fantozzi. I apologise if I completely destroyed that name, but yeah, thank you very much for your email. We got an email saying Sainz to replace Palmer at Renault from Austin, and he says in his little note, "No ice cream for you." So I'm assuming that is Jolyon's dad saying it to Jolyon, and this is the story of Sainz is jumping into the Renault as of next race.
Yep, he's being drafted earlier because originally the rumor was they wanted Sainz to go straight over.
Yep.
But Jolyon basically said, "I have a cast iron contract, so no, sir." And so it was like, fine, it's from the beginning of next year. And so they weren't going to do that. And, presumably Palmer was going to see out the rest of the season. But they, and on the Red Bulls, the Toro Rosso side, they decided to rest. Do you see my finger quotes there? Rest.
I can hear them, yes.
Danny Kvyat, and to give Gasly a go to presumably evaluate him as a potential drive for next year.
Yeah. And I think half of that resting period and trial has worked out very, very well. So this leaves Gasly coming in, Kvyat rested, but now Sainz is going back over. Kvyat is coming back, as was always the way, I feel. Kvyat was always going to come back to this race anyway, but now he's got his drive for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I still don't know what's going on with Gasly, though. Whether he wants to finish his Formula... I can't even remember what thing
it's Super Formula, I think it is.
Oh, okay.
Although what's interesting is he drives for Honda there. Or at least Honda has input there. And Honda want him to win the championship, and Honda are providing Toro Rosso's engines next time out.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay.
Just to muddy those waters a little bit more.
Well, then I can see him disappearing just to finish that off then.
Potentially. I mean, then the question comes, who do you put into the seat next to Kvyat? There was rumours that Mercedes were quite keen to have Pascal Wehrlein have a go.
That's not going to happen.
well, is it Frank Tost?
Yeah.
Who's the tour? Yeah, he was keen for it, but Helmut Marko, the Red Bull drivers, whatever, was like, no, Toro Rosso is for Red Bull young drivers, not Mercedes young drivers. Fair enough. There's some previous Red Bull drivers potentially who could do it. Was John-Eric Verne, Sebastian Buemi, a few other people who potentially could do it, who have the super licenses and all that in place.
Yeah.
Alexander Rossi from IndyCar was mooted as a possible one.
Oh, that'd be good.
But for my money, I think it's entirely possible you might get a Japanese driver, someone from Honda.
Really?
Well, potentially, just because they will, presumably, if they're going to go, if they have a bit more say in the team, they might want to see a Japanese driver in one of the cars. So they might want to evaluate potentials. Not saying it will happen, just saying. I don't know where the balance of power is yet between Toro Rosso and Honda. So,
well, as far as I'm concerned, I suppose looking towards the future, Honda would want a say in this, wouldn't they?
You'd think so. I mean, and that's what the Gasly thing is, because I'm sure if it was down to Gasly, the only reason he wanted to win Super Formula was to show he was potentially ready for a Formula One drive. Well, he has a Formula One drive, so that's besides the point. But if Honda want him to win the championship in Super Formula, then it seems to me that they would be very keen that he does that. So, and again, there's a whole pride thing on the Japanese part, and let's face it, they ain't getting any of that in Formula One at the minute. So any win they can get is a win. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting who's going to end up sitting next to Danny Kvyat. In fact, if it's even alongside Danny Kvyat, because for all we know, they might turn around and say, you know what, let's have two different drivers.
It could.
They've not announced it's Kvyat. We're just all assuming that's the case.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, I think it's easier just to keep Kvyat in there as a stopgap, just in case. But
it's really weird though. So let's assume Gasly stays. Well, then is Kvyat taking Sainz's seat, or is Gasly moving over to Sainz's seat and Kvyat's taking his old one back?
Ooh.
What happens with regards to things like engines and everything?
That's right. Yeah, because Gasly's been using Kvyat's allocated. Oh.
And Sainz just had a new engine put in for this race just gone. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now, does he get that engine, or does Kvyat get that engine? That's a good question.
Inquiring minds must know.
Because he could have thrashed the nuts off of that engine, couldn't he?
Oh, I would have done that,
I would have properly ragged that one out. But then again, Sainz binned it as well, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
So he could have damaged that. Okay. Well, that's going to be interesting to see what happens. But on the sadder side of things, this is where we need the Radio 2 music just kicking in very sadly and slowly.
Oh, I don't know about Radio 2 music. Maybe the Incredible Hulk, walking away music. Can you add this afterwards?
No, I'm not adding anything afterwards. But, yeah, we've lost Mr. Jolyon Palmer. Discussions were had between him and Renault, and it has been decided from all parts after last weekend's couple of spins that he looked like he was driving a shopping trolley at one point last weekend, didn't he? It was just spinning all the way around. I've seen that lap where he spun twice, and it's just comical. The first time he spun it with no one around, and then as he tried to correct it, he overcorrected it. It was just, you could just see the frustration coming out of it. And then going into the first corner where he spun as well, it's just clumsy, and you kind of see the writing on the wall there. But it has now been decided to this weekend, the Japanese Grand Prix 2017.
He has ceased to be. He is an ex-driver. He is pushing up the daisies. If he wasn't nailed to the seat.
Exactly, yeah. This is his last
pining
race.
For the fjords.
So, will we see him in Formula One ever again? Honestly?
I think the odds are somewhere between no and fuck no.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, so from my understandings, Williams the choice for the seat is actually now down between Di Resta and Kubica.
Yep.
It seems like they're moving away from Massa. We might touch on that a bit later on as well. But yeah, it's starting to sound like Massa's out of that contention there. Toro Rosso ain't going to take him. They got zero interest in him, I'm sure.
Who, Jolyon?
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Exactly. I'm just going through where are their seats. And, you know, I mean, if I just pull up the 2018 current confirmed drivers that we have, he says while he looks up the list. There you go. Okay, so Ferrari, they're sticking with Vettel and Raikkonen.
No, he's not going to
Force
Ferrari.
India. Yeah, I'm going through the list. Going through the list. Oh, well, look, here you go. Here are the seats which are available.
Okay.
There is a McLaren seat currently available because Alonso hasn't confirmed. There are 2 Sauber seats currently unconfirmed. The 2 Toro Rosso seats are currently unconfirmed. And Williams, although they haven't officially confirmed, we know for a fact Stroll's going to be staying. So they have 1 seat. So,
okay, Williams, they've got 2 drivers ready to go in there anyway. It's just up to them.
They've got more. They've got more than enough. They've got more drivers than seats at the minute. So yes.
so they're fine. Toro Rosso ain't going to happen. That's not going to happen in a million years. And Sauber, they're going to keep Wehrlein. They're going to bring in Leclerc.
Well, actually,
yeah. And then
so
you've got
here's
Ericsson floating around, and I reckon teams
Well, I'll
would
just say
rather have
that's-
Ericsson.
Sauber might not keep Wehrlein because think about this: Sauber are going to effectively become the Ferrari B team, and Wehrlein is Mercedes Junior.
Yeah.
He's one of their proteges. They might be a bit sensitive about cross-pollination.
Right, okay.
That's rampant speculation on my part, but all I'm saying is, depending on just how involved Ferrari are going to be with Sauber from next year, and from what I've heard, they want to go the full B team effectively.
Mm-hmm.
They might not want that. In which case, who knows where Pascal's going to end up?
I don't know. See, if he's floating around, then surely Williams should have an eye on him. Because they got the Mercedes engine as well.
Potentially, yeah, but I mean, maybe it will turn out to be between Wehrlein and Kubica. But Kubica's, they're very, very interested in Kubica, basically.
Mm.
From what I've heard, Renault might well, if they hadn't been able to secure science, probably would have gone with Kubica for next year.
Okay.
They were impressed enough with his tests. The only reason they didn't continue doing the evaluations is because when science became available, it's like, well, shit.
So with the Williams drive, do you think it's more, okay, we've got Kubica, we just need to check him out. Otherwise, we'll fall back to Di Resta.
Pretty much.
Right.
And I think Di Resta's only got himself into contention from his drive at Spa.
In Hungary.
Because they were... Was it Hungary?
Yeah, it's Hungary.
Okay. Because they were so impressed with how well he did after literally zero preparation.
Yeah. I think he deserves a shot at it, at least. At least a shot, because he did jump in there and he was impressive. I was shocked. I was taken aback about it. And yes, he was very impressive. So I think he deserves at least... I think he deserves his trial, at least. So
let's bear in mind, though, Di Resta was in Formula One.
Yeah.
So I'm just, to people out there, just remember, he was Force India for, was it 3 years?
2 or 3 years, yeah.
So yeah, you know, I'm not saying I disagree with you. I certainly think it would be good to have him there, but he has had a chance. Yeah, he was with Force India for 4 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, well, let's see how Kubica gets on then. So that doesn't leave anywhere else for Jolyon to go. Sauber, I can't see them. I can't see Ferrari turning around and saying, "Yeah, we'll have him in there in the B team."
Well, and he's actively said he's got no interest in being a development driver or a third driver or anything like that. So yeah, IndyCar or GT, I would have thought.
IndyCar. I suppose he would. I suppose he could fit in there somewhere. There's always a drive popping up somewhere along the lines around there.
Potentially, maybe Formula E.
I think that's more likely. I think that is more likely. But do you know what? Honestly, don't care. Don't care. I'm sure he's a really nice guy. And next time I bump into his father and him personally, then I will shake them warmly by the hand. But not impressed with his driving whatsoever. And I don't think his attitude has been poor. I just don't think it was correct for Formula One.
He had a certain arrogance about him.
Mm.
A certain undeserved arrogance.
Have you seen his old man? When anything happens and then all of a sudden it's onto his dad in the pits and he's there just blowing the wind and puffing out his cheeks and all of a sudden the camera's on and he's like, oh, stand up straight. And it's just, oh, for fuck's sake, mate, come on. Look, you're just being a dad. It's fine. You don't have to be like that. You don't have to be pompous about it. But he comes across very pompous. So he's just,
I suppose so, yeah.
Just jarring. Just jarring.
And his dad was only he was in Formula One for 7 years or so. But yeah, his highest in the Drivers' Championship was 11th.
Right.
Tool.
Yeah, I remember him more from doing Ted's job in the early days.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But yeah, okay, so Jolyon, we don't know where he's going to. I don't really care, but I wish him all the best.
Absolutely.
I do wish him all the best.
One other bit of sort of news, which I suppose is, slightly tangential. The drivers' press conference, not press conference, briefing. Mm-hmm. Roman Grosjean managed to piss everyone off, questioning the legality of taking off your seatbelts on the slowdown lap.
Okay.
Because Lewis undid his seatbelts at Malaysia, and he leans out and he waves at everyone.
Yeah.
Fans like it; they can see it. And Grosjean decided to say, "Is that right, Charlie?" And Charlie says, "Well, you can loosen the straps, but you can't take them off." And then they said, "Well, look, you can't loosen them. It's either on or off." And he said, "Well, you shouldn't take them off." And they said, "Well, Lewis takes them off." And it sounded like he was just stirring up shit.
Oh, what an idiot!
Yeah.
Is this because of the Stroll-Vettel bump that we had?
Potential. I think so. I think that's at least what he says. But yeah, I'm still like, why? Actually, I suppose that's a fair point, though, isn't it? If you weren't wearing a seatbelt when something like that happened, that would be pretty unpleasant.
It could be nasty.
Yeah.
It could be very nasty. But how many collisions have we seen over the years on slowdown laps?
Well, only one I can remember in the last 20.
That's all I can think of as well. That's all I can think of. Fucking hell, Mark Webber drove around Brazil with his helmet off on his last race, didn't he?
Speaking of the Stroll and Vettel crash, we saw another angle. Did you see it on the thing?
I did, yes. Okay, have your opinions changed at all?
I'm pretty sure I was of the opinion that I didn't think Stroll was in the wrong. Mm-hmm. This has reinforced that opinion.
Okay.
Well, Stroll clearly doesn't move his steering wheel.
He doesn't.
In fact, when Vettel comes across, he tries to steer away.
This is true.
So, yeah, I'm like, we know that Vettel was steering back into the corner, and everyone goes, "Oh well, he was just taking the corner, and Stroll must have pulled out on him." Well, it's clear that Stroll didn't. So it's like I'm pointing the finger even firmly at Mr. Vettel.
Right. Okay. Here I go. I'm cracking my
Off
knuckles.
you go, mate.
If I could crack my knuckles, I would crack them.
Hang on, let me see if I can. There you go.
Thank you very much. Here we go. It is, from my opinion, on watching all the onboards now, I'm surprised this Stroll one took so long to come out. But from watching all the onboards, this is Vettel's fault. This is being strengthened by looking at Stroll's onboard camera. Vettel hits Stroll. It's not Stroll hitting Vettel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, Stroll doesn't follow the radius of that corner, which he's entitled to because he wants to pick up rubber. But he also needs to be aware of what's going around him as well. His steering wheel is pointing to the left-hand side, and when he does try to take very last-second evasive manoeuvre and turns it even harder to the left. But it shows that he doesn't follow the radius of the corner, and so sweeps out ever so slightly. Even though you can, if you turn your steering wheel less degrees than the actual radius of the corner, then you are going to sweep out to the outside, as we all know, because we all drive cars.
Absolutely, yeah.
So he's done that. His car has swept out to the outside, but it still looks like he's turning. Just because he's turning it left doesn't mean that he's not. He couldn't be turning it more left, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But Vettel does cause the crash.
Yes.
So I don't think Stroll is totally innocent in this, but Vettel did hit Stroll.
Yeah, there's that. And again, I just point out that, Vettel's been doing this game for what? 7 years now?
Yeah, about that.
Stroll's been doing it for what? 7 months?
Maybe more than that. When was his first win? 2007, wasn't it?
Well, so Vettel's been here a lot longer than Stroll has.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that was muted after that was maybe they'll just enforce drivers to hold station once they cross the line, which makes sense. You don't need to race to get back. No,
you don't need to, but health and safety gone mad and all that lot. It's just, hold state. No, look, they're big boys. Let them just get the cars home. If they want to sweep out real wide and pick up lots of... Look what Lewis does at Silverstone when he comes completely off the circuit and goes as close to the crowd as he can. Is he not allowed to do that anymore? It just seems
I'm sure if you give them a chance, they'll say no. I mean, again, they were kind of wagging fingers at Vettel for doing the whole climbing onto Wehrlein's Sauber.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know, mate. I'm just... don't need people like Grosjean turning around and saying, oh yeah, we need to enforce these rules a little bit, because fuck off, man. Honestly, I haven't got any time for him at the moment. I really haven't. I haven't got any time for him whatsoever. Okay.
So when you said you liked all the current Formula One drivers,
well, one has just shot to the bottom of the list, definitely. Is he not pissing you off a little bit? And Magnussen and all the Haas thing at the moment. It's just...
Haas definitely... Well, I mean, Grosjean just annoys me because, every time it rains, he sulks.
Yeah, and...
But then, to be fair, he sulks or he spins, so...
Yeah, he spins half the time going backwards, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay, well, I'm going to get into the free practice, okay? There was a threat of rain in free practice 1, and Carlos Sainz brought out the red flag at one point. There was little spots of rain all over the track, and it was getting onto... I think they had like a dry line. the track was mostly dry anyway, but the curbs were very wet anyway. He ended up coming out of the hairpin, planting his foot down and losing it on the curb. He lost traction on there. It speared him off into the barriers, nose first, ripped off both front wheels, and brought out the red flag for that. So, yeah, screwed everyone else up. He apologised. It wasn't a very clever move. And I think that was at 36 minutes left when that happened. The red flag came out. I think the last 5 minutes were rain affected, and that was it. FP1 was over. So Carlos Sainz bending his car was about as good as it got. FP2 was soaking. Total washout. I'm trying to think if there were actual cars on the circuit. I don't think there were. Trying to remember. There may have been 3 or 4 cars that went out and completed one lap and then came back in. But there was not a lot of action. FP3, it turns out that Bottas had a 5-place gearbox penalty that turned up. Alonso was issued a 30-place...
35.
A 35-place, and he had problems with his power unit.
Yes, apparently that brought great shame to Honda.
Oh, at their home circuit as well.
Yeah.
They actually own this track as well, don't they? And Toyota owns Fuji, don't they?
Yeah, this is the Honda circuit, yeah.
Right, okay. Bottas ended up hitting the barriers. He tore up some Astro coming out of Spoon Curve, which sent him in, which dragged him onto the grass, which was still wet. And he bounced along the Armco, going up the hill towards 130R, and completely destroyed his right rear and left front as well. Hang on, right. I'm getting my left and rights confused. Both right sides.
If you hold your hand out in front of you, your left hand will make canals.
It does, yes, it does. That's amazing. Both wheels on the right-hand side, the driver's side. So that's all destroyed. He bent the front wing as well, and the debris from that brought out the red flag. On the restart, Kimi Räikkönen straight away into Degner 2, bins it, brings out the red flag. He just, it looked as if he just lost it, got a snap of oversteer, and then he went to correct it, and it just, car jumped up in the air. Bottas had a close escape earlier on doing the similar sort of thing, but he got away with it. Kimi, nope, just nailed it straight into the barriers, and he was wiped out, ready for qualifying. Then, what else happened? He brought out the red flag. Then, Sainz, on the restart, he jumped the red light.
Naughty boy.
Did you hear about this?
I did not know.
Okay, well, he came down to the end of the pit lane for the restart after the Kimi Räikkönen incident. And what happened is he slowed right down, and I'm sure he stopped. Yes, he did stop just in front of the line. And he was waiting for the lights to turn green. From what he's told all the powers that be, is that he selected first gear and it bounced him over the line. The whole car bounced straight over the line. Then the light went green and then he went off. It was a misdemeanor. They turned around and said, okay, fine. The telemetry backed him up on that as well. So there was no fine or anything. It was just a glitch which sent him over there. There was no danger or anything like that, but it was just a silly mistake. Please, guys, don't do that again. And that is free practices, all done and dusted. Not very exciting.
No. And just to remind everyone out there that you can watch the highlights on the Formula One YouTube channel.
Yes. And
so you can just see the exciting bits from FPs.
Yeah, that's it. Instead of sitting around for an hour and a half like I do, watching it all and trying to gather it in, and you realise, actually, there's nothing happening here. Especially when it's raining.
I did see an interview with Jenson Button from FP2.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jensen was out there. So, while Ted and Johnny Herbert were bored, they went and annoyed him. And it was quite funny. There was a bit of ribbing backwards and forwards there. But basically, Jenson confirmed he won't be back next year, even if Alonso isn't.
Yep.
He feels he stayed in Formula One just a year too long. And, he's looking at other racing series or something like that to pursue. And then he couldn't quite get his head around why people still wanted to come and see him. He's like, Ted points to these people waiting and go, they're for you. Go, no, they're not for me. He goes, no, yeah, they are there for you. He goes, but I'm not racing.
Doesn't matter. You're Jenson Button.
He's one of the nicest blokes ever.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, good luck to him. I would like to see him racing again. I don't think he'll turn his hand to IndyCar or anything like that.
He says, I respect people that go IndyCar, but not for me.
Yeah.
Just nope. But he did say he's very interested in doing an LMP1 drive.
Thank
he
you.
Goes, I'd like to do Le Mans, but it would have to be LMP1 because although you've got great drivers and machinery in LMP2, I just can't get my head around driving in a car which is 20 seconds slower than the next category up.
Yeah, it could be frustrating, especially him being a world champion and being in front of everyone in the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, there's just one team, though, isn't there? It's just Toyota left, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah, at the minute. Although they do promise us they have plans to try and tempt some manufacturers back next year. We'll see.
How pissed off would Honda be if Jenson and Alonso went to Toyota for the Le Mans?
Well, they won't be too pissed just because they aren't in LMP1. But if they did go to LMP1 and then they went to Toyota, they'd be very, very fucking pissed.
That'd be amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, right, I'm going to quickly run through the qualifying because there's not a lot here.
Hey!
Qualifying 1, Kimi Raikkonen's car was still being repaired after his red flag incident in FP3. And he made it out with 12 minutes to go in Q1. So he did make it out, which was always good. He didn't qualify at the back like Vettel did last time round. There's something of a mirror image of what happened last week compared to this week as well. It's spookily, very, very close to what happened last time out. We had Bottas. He dropped it on Degner 2, nearly dropped it into the barriers, but he got out with the skin of his teeth. He didn't touch the barrier, but it was a case of Toto Wolff was watching it on the monitors, and he was, you could see him inhaling his breath.
Clench.
Yes, yeah, he took a bite out of the seat. We also had Stroll blocking Perez, and Perez on the phone moaning about that, and then Grosjean ended up dropping it, coming into the Dunlop corner, or through the S's. He dropped it, brought out the red flag, and I think it was with 1 minute 50 on the clock. And so they just turned around and went, do you know what? No, we'll end the session there. Thank you very much.
There's not enough time for you to get out and do an outlap, is there? So.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I say that Stroll was blocked by Perez. Yeah, did I say Stroll blocked Perez? No, Stroll was blocked by Perez because Stroll ended up 18th in the final standings, and he was on another lap when Grosjean crashed, and so that set him back. He couldn't put another lap, and so he didn't qualify out there. So I think they had a little word with the stewards. I don't think much was done about it, but I think maybe a finger wagging at Perez about it, but that's about it. So in the first session, we lost Pascal Wehrlein, Ericsson, Stroll, Gasly, and Romain Grosjean, who ended up 16th. Into Q2, the only impressive thing was Hamilton smashing that lap record. He destroyed it. He absolutely caned it. And just no one anywhere near him. He was so impressive. To say that, leading up to that, it had been, hopefully Ferrari might be catching Mercedes for the rest of the season, just to make a song and dance about it, just to give us a bit of competition there. And
give you a bit of hope.
yeah, hope as a visual spectacle for everyone that loves Formula One. And there's just Hamilton just caning it. He's he's towing it around the track, and nobody could get anywhere near him. So that was impressive to see.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a pretentious fuck at times. I saw he posted something on Twitter not long ago, and your response was, "Oh, do fuck off." And I was just like, "That was perfect."
What was that? That was sometimes he's driving around and he can almost hear Senna's voice in his head guiding him. Like, honestly, fuck off.
Yeah. So you get that, but then, in all fairness to him, he does like last time out at Malaysia, or this time, he puts out one of those laps, and you just think, fair play, son, fair play.
Yeah, nobody can touch him, and Bottas is nowhere near him.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Vitaly Bottas, but as soon as he signed on for next year, he just went to shit.
He did, yeah, he did. It's all since mid-season. Before mid-season, we had a cracking season that was to and fro and all over the place. Everyone was really excited about it. Everyone comes back from their holidays, and oh dear, it's all gone wonky. It's like a different end to a different season. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Q3, my note, I'll tell you exactly what I've written down on my notes, okay? Q3. That's it. That's what I've written. Nothing. But Lewis Hamilton did it again. He pulled a blinder out of the hat. And wow, hats off to him. Hands up. Anything you want, amazing lap. And once again, nobody was, I think the closest person was Bottas. No, hang on, who was?
Bottas came second, but he has the penalty, so he ended up starting seventh.
That's right, yeah. And I think he was nearly half a second off. Apart from that, everyone was well over half a second. He just destroyed everyone. And I honestly didn't expect it. That's what the surprise was. I wasn't expecting that. And yeah, he just creamed everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
So the 10-1 on the qualifying, we have Fernando Alonso, Felipe Massa in 9th, Sergio Perez in 8th, Esteban Ocon in 7th, Kimi Räikkönen in 6th, Max Verstappen in 5th, Daniel Ricciardo in 4th, Sebastian Vettel in 3rd, Bottas in 2nd, and Lewis Hamilton taking his 71st pole position. Now, the orders changed a little bit, didn't they, before the race?
Yeah, there was, again, there was bloody penalties galore, for fuck's sakes. I mean, there's only 20 cars on the grid. How can you have a 35-place fucking penalty?
I think...
I mean, seriously, if you're going to have numbers like that, fucking enforce it. I want Charlie walking out and marking out 35 grid places, and there's no car. I mean, fine, but you've got to start back around the last corner. Fucking do it. If you're going to give the silly numbers like that, then fucking enforce it.
Funny you should say that, because I think it was mentioned that... Hang on. Yeah, I think it was just Alonso this year has had over 140 grid position penalties this year. Right? Now, that's 8 meters per grid box. I worked that out to over a kilometre. That is, I reckon, around about the length of the back straight in China. That's the difference this year.
So you reckon what they should do from now on is they should just pile these all up, and when you get to China, they just have to start however far along the back straight?
Yeah. Why not? Why not? Why not just have more grid positions and then drop them back a little bit further?
No, wait. I've got it even better. Even better than that.
Mm-hmm.
You do like the old Le Mans starts, where they have to start out of a car, and the grid penalties dictate how far back from their car they are.
Okay.
So they've got to sprint to the car, get belted in before they can drive off.
Okay. So do the drivers start on the track?
No, I'm saying if you've got a grid penalty, it's fine. You sit in your car as normal.
Mm.
But if you get a grid penalty, your car stays where it was, but you are further down. And when it's go, you've got to run up and get into the car and go. Look, it's no more ridiculous than what they're currently doing, so I think we should give it a try. Be entertaining.
I'm open to all options. I'm well off for that.
Are you listening, Charlie? I'm telling you, man. It's the wave of the future here.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we get into the race? Because I haven't got a lot written down for this.
Yeah, sure. Let's do this.
Okay. Well, drama started before the red lights went out again. Once again, for Ferrari. This time it wasn't Kimi Räikkönen's car, it was Vettel's car. And on the excursion lap that they have, I never know what they call that. Like a break.
Exploration lap?
Yeah, that would do. Exploration lap. He took it round the track and he said it was low on power. They reckon they put it down to a spark plug fault.
Yeah, and that's weird because, as Martin Brundle points out, the last time he can recall a spark plug failing was around 1992.
I think they've got that technology sorted out, haven't they?
Pretty much for the most part, yeah. It's not really a part prone to failures.
No, that's right. So on the grid, they took off the back of the car as they did last weekend and had a little poke around. They said they should have fixed it. They might have fixed it. We don't know. Take to the start, and straight away he looks underpowered, and he doesn't really make a dent on Lewis off the lights. And he seemed okay on that initial set part of the getaway, but as soon as he was around the first corner, it was just like, and I'm, GP2 engine. Yeah, he was under pressure from everyone, wasn't he?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
He just got mauled.
So, yeah, that was... What more is there to say? Nothing really happened. He was under pressure from both Red Bulls, and even Perez, was it Perez at one point was
Ocon.
hounding him? Or was it Ocon?
It was Ocon. Him? Yeah, because Ocon got a really good start and he got away. A little bit of a side thing, I don't know if you've heard this as well, but Vettel's been given a reprimand because at the start he stayed with the car while they were trying to fix it and didn't go up for the national anthem.
Which I think is a bit strong.
Fair, it potentially is a bit strong, but it is an official. I mean, the reason they did this was to get the drivers to do this because they weren't bothering before.
Yeah.
What's interesting here, though, is because this is Vettel, who perhaps has not had the cleanest of the years. He is now one reprimand away from a 10-place grid penalty.
Shit, a brick.
Yeah.
So
if you think back, so this is everything from Baku driving into the back of Hamilton, and I can't remember what the other one was, but basically, yeah, one more, and he will have a 10-place grid penalty.
Flipping out, he's going to get it, isn't he? It's going to happen.
Well, if he keeps driving the way he has been driving, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I personally think this is a little harsh. Maybe a fine would suffice. I think they said on the commentary that he's got to give over valuable information from a driver's perspective about the car, and they're having trouble with the car, and so surely they maybe could be a little bit lenient about this. But then again, there's protocols to follow.
Well, I mean, rules are rules. I mean, we've always said our biggest complaint about rules in previous years anyway was the lack of consistency there.
Yeah.
And yes, it is a minor thing. And normally this would be a minor thing. I mean, if Lewis hadn't bothered to show up or whatever, oh, fine, I've got a bloody mark on my record. I won't do it again. It's just because Vettel's had so many this year, this is now potentially a thing.
Well, Lewis got one a couple of years ago, didn't he, at Monaco for turning up late for a press conference?
Yeah.
So, okay, well, look, it's the rule. He has to be at the front of the grid with all the other guys for the national anthem. Is he going to really give them any more data than what they actually need? They got all the telemetry there. They probably got.
They've got the telemetry. I mean,
people.
what else can he tell them that he won't have told them straight away? I mean, I really think he was just staying there out of nerves more than anything else.
Yeah, wants to see what's happening, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Wants to stay with the car, see what the progress is like. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. fair enough, give him the reprimand. But then again, I guarantee you he'll get it between this race and the end of the season. He'll probably get screwed over at some point. Not screwed over, because he's a silly boy from time to time, isn't he? So
numerous occasions, and to be fair, he's been pretty lucky he's not gotten more, because arguably he probably should have gotten one for bloody Singapore.
What, the crash?
Oh, he caused a collision.
Okay, yeah, okay. No. Yeah, okay. No. I don't know. Honestly, I'm so torn with that. When that situation happened, we went over that with a fine-tooth comb, I feel. And
I feel so too, yes.
Went through every driver that was involved and what could have happened, who was at fault. And I'm still of the opinion that was a racing accident, although it was caused by Vettel. He didn't help himself.
Oh, it was absolutely a racing incident. And again, I'm not disputing the fact he didn't get one, but I'm just saying on another day, if you had a driver steward who was maybe feeling a bit more malicious or was a bit more of a hard ass, he could have easily been given one for that.
Yeah, that's right.
So all I'm saying is, while yes, this instance in this case might have been a bit harsh, there's been other instances where he might have just gotten away. So, swings and roundabouts.
But ain't it crazy that the luck that Ferrari have had in the last 3 races?
A little bit, but then again, contrast it with the luck Hamilton was having at the beginning of the season.
I'm trying to think of what luck or what bad luck he was having.
It wasn't really bad luck. Things weren't falling into place for him, were they?
No, okay, yeah, fair enough. But when it comes
or
round...
better yet, last year.
Oh yeah, definitely last year, yeah. Yeah, he did have all the bad luck, didn't he? And it was his title to have, and he would have romped away with it. But all the bad luck, and Rosberg just about grasped it from his hands. So yeah, I think any other 1 or 2 different results on the races from Hamilton's point of view, and he still would have been world champion last year.
Yeah, well, basically, if he'd finished Malaysia, he'd have been a champion.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so Ferrari of having bad luck. Sainz had a crash, which brought out the safety car, which bunched them all up.
Yes, which was strange as well, to be fair, because especially since after that they all went VCS when you had instances like that.
Do you think that's just because it was very close to the start and they're all kind of bunched up anyway?
Yeah, I think it's probably that to a certain extent, and I think as well they're still very touchy about that at Suzuka.
Yes. Absolutely, yeah, because...
Understandably, but yeah.
Yeah, and this is where the VCS comes from, really, isn't it? It's the home of the VCS.
Well, it was in response to the Jules Bianchi crash, was it 3-4 years ago now? Yeah. 2015?
Yes.
So yeah, it's it is what it is. And again, I don't think that's wrong or anything like that. I just think that first one, I was like, really? But then after that, they VCS'd it. So maybe it is, like you said, because it was at the start and they were all bunched up. But that being said, when they're all bunched up like that at the start anyway, it's usually easier to VCS it because you know that the train is the other end of a bloody grid.
Yeah. I'm still not... I still haven't worked out if I'm a fan of the virtual safety car yet or not.
I don't mind it. I would prefer if it was in sectors rather than the whole race.
Yeah, it's just something about it that doesn't quite fit for me. But there's things to talk about that, I suppose. So Sainz went out. He made a silly little mistake. Ended up putting it across the grass or across the gravel trap, and out. That's it. No more. That's it. He's out of Toro Rosso. He got his wish, and now he's On to pastures new to Renault.
Play that incredible hot music again. The sand walking away.
Yeah. Then the safety car came back in. Vettel was straight once again, under pressure again. And
Vettel
was under pressure, yeah. He didn't
Vettel?
retire.
Did he not retire at that point?
He didn't retire until after the safety car.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. He was under pressure. They said, yeah, you got to box it. They brought him in, and that was it. They did try to work on it a little bit, though, didn't they?
They did, but I think that was more just wishful thinking.
Yep. Okay. I'm just going to run through the virtual safety car incidences first off, if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I feel, from my point of view, they're the most impressive parts of the race. Because I, once again, found it a little dull. It was a bit dull for me. Ericsson crashed at Degner 2, just went straight on.
He did. He seemed to have been just caught asleep and just what?
It was one of them moments, wasn't it? It was bollocks.
No.
It was like he was changing the radio on his car. Anyway, yeah, he ended up crashing at Degner 2. The VSC came out and they all poodled around until they got rid of that car and he jumped over the barrier. The second one that they had, the virtual safety car, was Stroll, which was a peculiar situation where he was going through the S's and all of a sudden something broke on his car, which burst the driver's side front right-hand tyre and sent him straight across one of the gravel traps as Daniel Ricciardo was following him through.
Yeah, he nearly collected Ricciardo on the out. Yeah. That
would have been a plane crash, really, wouldn't it?
It would have been most unpleasant.
Yeah. That was... I still don't know what happened to the wheel, though. It looked as if it had been worn down. Something just automatically popped. It didn't seem like a puncture.
It didn't seem like a puncture. Someone said maybe some machinery had bitten into it, be it part of a wheel or something had gone. I mean, for me, it almost reminded me, although not as bad. Do you remember a few years ago when that Toro Rosso just ejected the front wheels?
Yes.
It was just kind of like that. It's like 1 minute is fine, and pop.
Oh, who was driving that? Was that Buemi? I think it was.
I think it might have been. Yeah, and all of a sudden it went pchink.
Oh, I love that replay because the front wheels just disappear. And it's
exactly the same moment for both. It's just like pching.
But he's sat in the car still trying to steer it. I love it. I know it's just the natural thing to do, isn't it? It's like, oh, no, turn that way. Oh no, I haven't got any front fucking wheels. I love it. I absolutely love that. So yeah, it would have been nasty. Daniel said that it was close. He didn't want to come on, but yeah, Stroll controlled it quite well. He slid back onto the track, but not across the track. So yeah, he had no choice but to retire.
Yeah, shame, but there you go. Such is the way of things. They were able to recover the car pretty easily, though. So
yeah. Who else went out of the race? Hulkenberg went out of the race for a rather peculiar reason, didn't he?
He did, and had a bit of a strop afterwards, apparently.
Yeah. The DRS system broke.
It stuck open.
It did, and then when they tried to fix it, it just came off in their hand.
Yeah, I mean, that was a weird one. Again, don't know quite how it broke. I know it's happened, with Kimi a few years ago.
I know Alonso had one as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Where it stuck open. And
but yeah, it's
said it was to do with marbles getting stuck in there.
Yeah.
But this was, he had to go through 130R with his DRS open.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Well, I mean, fair play to him. He kept it, pointing in the right direction, got it back.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm sure he wasn't on the power going through that corner, though. It could have been another Alan McNish situation where he's the guy that jumped the barriers on that corner, isn't he? He got his Toyota, ended up going backwards and straight over the barriers there. which was very nasty. So Hulkenberg was out. Was there anything else of importance during this race? I know there was, but just tag teaming.
Well, it's
you.
not necessarily importance, but just in terms of entertainment. I mean, again, I found the start of the race entertaining because there was the drama. Because again, I didn't know about Vettel's spark plug issue because, like I said, I tuned in at 5:59 because, fuck, I'm waking up a minute earlier than I have to. So for me, that was just oh no, what's going to happen, poor Vettel. And then you got Verstappen, who I think we've seen this before as well. Once things start going his way, he gets really fucking punchy, and he's up for anything. So he was on a mission from God. He was gone. And when he shot off after Lewis, I was just like, ooh, this is going to get fun. Because while Vettel was still in the race, I think at one point he was at fifth. It's like, so what's Lewis going to do? Because Vettel, if Vettel manages to get it going again, he doesn't want to slip behind Verstappen. But we're just going to have to see what's going to go on there. So that was cool. You also had Ricciardo trying to get by Ocon. Because our Force India went off like a bloody shot at the beginning, and that was really cool.
Once again, going in 2x2, them cars.
Oh, I think they have the two best drivers for that car, in so much as they are both getting the maximum you can out of it, as evidenced by where they're finishing. The only problem is, and we did hear this at one point on the team radio, when Perez goes, "Can I attack him? Not can I pass him? Not can I race him? Can I attack him?"
It's like the teacher looked up from her desk and just gave him the look. That's all that was needed.
Did you hear the radio message? It was just no. Just to make sure there was no misunderstanding. It was just like, you almost expect Dr. Evil to come on and say, "How about no, you crazy Dutch bastard."
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was really quite entertaining, interesting there as well. We also had Bottas, managed to have a bit of a renaissance compared to where he had been for the most of the weekend. He seemed to remember where the accelerator pedal was.
Yeah.
Or maybe he got his confidence back, whatever it is. But he managed to find something, and he made a pretty good charge getting on after Ricciardo. Ricciardo really didn't have an answer to Verstappen today. I mean, by the time he'd gotten by Ocon, that was just where he was. He was never really going to trouble him or anything like that. We had some fun stuff as well a bit further down through the midfield, with the Haasers harassing the Williams of Massa for a period. And also I think Hulkenberg at one point. This was all before Hulkenberg ended up retiring.
Yeah.
And again, I think we had Grosjean wanting to get by Massa, to saying, "I can get past him. I have better tyres." And it's like, we're looking at it. We're looking at it. We're not looking at it.
Yeah. That's exactly what they're doing, though, isn't it? Yeah. Don't worry, we'll get back to you. Please hold the line.
Yeah. Your call is important to us. Please hold.
You are number 4 in the queue, but there are only 2 drivers.
But for me, the most interesting part really came after the second VSC, because when Hamilton and everything started accelerating away again, getting back up to speed, Hamilton starts reporting vibration, not being happy with his rear tyres. And all of a sudden, Verstappen's closing in a lot, getting closer and closer and closer. And then all of a sudden, he comes up across the back of Alonso and Massa, who are having a scrap for P10, the last point.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, Verstappen is right behind Lewis. And then it's just like, oh shit. What's going to happen? And then you get into that situation, which is very rare these days as well, where Lewis managed to get Alonso to split the overtaking cars. Well, he managed to get by him, and then Alonso got between him and Verstappen, giving him that breathing room to pull a bit of a gap.
A bit like Vettel last time round, wasn't it? Last week.
Yeah, a little bit. In fact, I think Alonso was actually penalised for ignoring blue flags. Not against Verstappen, though, against Lewis. Apparently that blue flag had been flashing for a while. And Alonso said, I gave him an opportunity and he didn't take it, so then he had to wait. So,
fair enough.
Whatever. That's just the way that is. But yeah, I mean, again, that was quite entertaining and interesting as well. Massa, I was saying earlier about Massa, when Raikkonen, another person we've not really mentioned, but again, Raikkonen had a pretty good race, all told. The Ferrari did seem to be working well here. But yeah, he went to pass Massa, and, Massa didn't even bother. He just went, drove around him. It was the definite feeling of Massa was like, yeah, well.
Well, Kimi started in 10th on the grid after everything was shaken up. And he ended up dropping back at the very beginning. He went wide, lots of people went past him, and it was just another recovery drive. And once again, he did look quite fast at times. But, 5th, is it good enough? I don't think it is. I know he's coming from 10th, but then Vettel came back from last on the grid last time out and ended up 4th.
Well, I mean, that's true. And again, the Ferrari did seem to have the legs here to do it.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is, he made himself too much work at the beginning. If he'd had a better start, I think maybe fighting for third. I don't think he'd have gotten any further than that, but to be honest.
No. Also, Lewis Hamilton, because he did take the win in the end.
He did, yes.
But did you ever get the feeling that he had bags and bags in reserve just in case Verstappen decided to have a go? It just felt as if he had so much in reserve.
Up until that last VSC, yes. After that, though, there was also the bit when he had to pass Bottas after the pit stops, because he'd got onto the super soft tyre and Bottas was on the soft. And Bottas ideally didn't want to have to pit yet. He wanted to go a bit longer. But all of a sudden, Lewis is in the dirtier air and Mercedes doesn't follow as well in dirty air. And he starts struggling. And again, Verstappen it was like Jaws. Verstappen, every time Verstappen started closing, you hear the Jaws music playing. Dun, 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 dun. And then, at the last minute, he managed to get around Bottas and just scoot on off. But yeah, it was those moments, which kind of get me. I'd lean forward in bed and go, ooh. Oh, wait, no, never mind.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't use Bottas more to gap the position between Hamilton and Verstappen. Just to make that a bit bigger.
Yes, but they realised that if they didn't pit him at that point, Raikkonen would probably have bounced him.
Bounced Bottas?
Bottas.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the undercut was worth, I think they were saying 2/10.
Yep.
Because that's what happened when Verstappen pitted. No, it was 2 seconds. So it was the undercut because Lewis had a 5 second gap. Verstappen pitted. When he came back out, Lewis pitted the next lap. He'd closed 2 seconds.
Flipping out on harder tyres as well.
Exactly. So yeah, the undercut was worth quite a bit today, and I think they just realised with Bottas that if they'd have left him out any longer, then Raikkonen would have potentially passed him again for that position. So they were kind of forced into that place.
Yeah.
We did have a couple of messy pits. Was it Raikkonen or ended up behind the Force Indias? It was who was it? I know someone pitted and it cost him a quarter second and he ended up behind some cars and it ruined his day.
Oh, it wasn't. When Bottas came out, he just made it out in front of Raikkonen, didn't he?
Yeah, he did it in front, but I know someone pitted and the stop was just a quarter second slow, and because of that they ended up behind some back markers they didn't want to be.
Well, Kimi Raikkonen did have to work his way through the Force Indias, definitely.
That would be it was Raikkonen, and Raikkonen was a quarter second slow and he ended up behind the Force Indias. And so because of that, he just kind of made himself a bit more work to be done there.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's, kind of touching on my main takeaways. Again, for me, I enjoyed it just because I love Suzuka. It's one of the circuits. I'm always happy to just sit and watch the cars going around here.
Yeah.
And again, I've said in the past, the promise of action or the promise of drama is not a substitute for drama. But for me, we had this, especially in those two instances when Verstappen started getting a bit punchy and getting close. It was, what's going to happen here? And again, maybe just because I didn't know about Vettel's problem at the start, that was a shock to me. It was like, oh no.
Well, for me, once again, the same as last week, I feel a little robbed as to a good race on our hands. I'm not saying that Vettel would have beaten Lewis Hamilton. I think he was in a class of his own again, leading up to the last VSC. But I think he could have taken anyone on and just dropped them willy-nilly whenever he wanted to. So I think Vettel would have ended up on the podium. I don't think he would have ended up winning, though. But so I feel a little robbed because of that. Also,
I certainly feel that Vettel would agree with you that he would have preferred a podium over a DNF.
Oh, definitely. He would have bitten my arm off for that. But yeah, just Hamilton had so much in reserve throughout the whole race. If Verstappen closed up a little bit, then he'd take a bit more. He just bossed it. That nobody could touch him, apart from that last 4 laps. Nobody could touch him.
Nobody does it better.
You might as well just put that on and put him in slow motion. There you go.
So yeah, if he wins it this year, that's the music we'll play out to.
Yeah, there we go.
Bit of Shirley Bassey, I'm up for that.
Yeah, and then you just have to visualise him driving in slow motion and his echoey voice in the background. No. Oh no, that's last season.
That's last season.
Yeah. So the top 10 for this race then. We have Lewis Hamilton winning, Max Verstappen taking a glorious second, Daniel Ricciardo in 3rd position, Bottas in 4th, Kimi Räikkönen in 5th, Esteban Ocon in 6th, Sergio Perez in 7th, Kevin Magnussen in 8th, Romain Grosjean in 9th, and Felipe Massa grabbing the last point in 10th. So,
hey, well done, those people.
That is the result. Do you want to run down the driver's standings?
Sure. Let me just find the page again because I clicked away from it. Okay, the driver's standings as they currently stand. In 5th is Kimi Räikkönen with 148. In 4th is Daniel Ricciardo with 192. In 3rd is Bottas with 234. In 4th is Vettel with 247. And way out in the lead now with a 59-point advantage is Lewis Hamilton with 306. And I just realised how close Bottas is to overhauling Vettel as well.
Oh, bloody hell, yes. Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's all gone a bit wrong from there.
Wow. Yeah, that's... Valtteri Bottas has only had 2 wins this season, hasn't he? And Sebastian's had 4. I think that's...
So here's a question for you.
Yeah.
If Lewis is able to tie up the championship next time out,
yeah,
will they start team order so Bottas can...
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Mercedes want a 1-2 in everything. They just want to be top of everything.
We will murder them.
Well, yeah, why not? I think they have every right to do that as well. And you watch Bottas just peg it as well, while Lewis Hamilton is driving very slowly around corners with everyone else in a truly train behind him.
And we know he can do it from last year.
Exactly. Yeah, he can do it. He can drive as fast as he wants or as slow as he wants. Okay. The constructors' standings, we have Williams in 5th with 66 points. Force India in 4th with 147 points. Red Bull in 3rd with 303 points. Ferrari in 2nd with 395 points. And way out front, a Mercedes with 540 points. They can, with mathematics applied, they can take the constructors and possibly the drivers next time out, can't they?
Well, yeah, basically if Lewis wins and Vettel is anything lower than 5th, he's won the championship.
Okay.
We should point out that it's not over until the fat lady sings, who I believe is currently being fitted into a corset as we speak.
I can hear her stepping up to the stage very soon.
She's out the back doing her vocal exercises. But we should point out that a 59-point advantage, it's a lot, but 1, maybe 2 DNFs on the part of Hamilton would certainly close it up. Although that being said, if it was 2 DNFs and Vettel won both of those races, he would still be 9 points ahead.
Right.
So, yeah, he's got everything he's got to do at this point. I can't remember what was the points deficit Kimi Räikkönen had in 2007 when he did it, because I know he came from quite a way back.
Oh, he was well back. I can't remember, and the point system has changed since then as well.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, it's still mathematically possible for Vettel, but it's gone from an uphill one to the north face of K2.
Definitely, yeah.
Also, I just wanted to point out as well, Haas overtook Renault on the constructors this week.
That's because both cars scored points and neither
Exactly.
Renaults scored any points.
Correct.
Wow.
And I will point out as well that all of Renault's points, bar 6, was scored by Nick Hülkenberg.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Look, should we just tell everyone where Jolyon finished this race? In 12th, 1 lap down. In 12th, 1 lap down. He was just behind Alonso and just in front of Pierre Gasly. So there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay, right, so that's the race over and done with. That's the constructors over and done with. But the most important thing of the weekend is our predictions.
Oh, yes.
Now, once again, do you remember what you went for this time round?
I know I went for ones that you didn't pick.
That's very correct. So, the pole position, I went for Vettel. That was incorrect. You went with Hamilton. You get that point. Well done, sir.
I chose wisely.
Yes. Oh, I like that. For the race, for some reason, I chose Kimi Räikkönen.
You chose poorly.
Thank you. And for the race, you chose Hamilton, which is another point. So well done, you, sir.
Giggity, giggity, giggity goo.
Okay, right. Here comes the third column. Because this
It was something to do with Gasly, wasn't it?
It was the Gasly gamble.
Oh, that was it, yeah.
It was the Gasly gamble. And we were betting on the qualifying and race position of where Gasly would finish and start. So
Okay.
let's just remind ourselves where he did actually start from.
Well, he qualified. Wait. Okay, so let's be clear. Did we say it was where he qualified or where he started?
I will let you choose that.
Well, I will say both of the numbers out.
Mm.
I think we should do it from where he actually started. But he qualified in 17th.
Yep.
But he started 14th.
Okay, so you want to do from started?
I think so.
Okay. Right. Okay, well, qualifying, you went for 13th position. I went for 14th position.
Well, there you go then.
So
that's a point for you, sir.
I was not expecting that point.
You're welcome to it.
Oh, okay. I will take that. I ain't going to moan. I thought 17th, so there we go. I just got another point for no reason whatsoever. Excellent.
Well, I'll tell all the listeners this. We're going to go back and listen to last week's episode later on and see what we said at the end of that. And if we did actually say it was where they qualified, not where they started, you're losing that point.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, if anyone has any recordings of that, then please destroy them as soon as you can, please.
while Elton quickly goes to delete it off the feed.
That's right. Yeah, it won't exist from now on. For the race, where did he finish? He finished in 13th position.
He did, yes.
For the race, you said that he would finish in 16th position. I said that he'll be finishing in 15th position. So neither of us got that.
Nil point.
So, wow, okay, fine. I got a point from that. I'm
You've
well happy with that.
You've provisionally got a point there.
I am over the moon with that.
Pending clarification of the sporting regulations.
Okay, fine. So
we've made a report to the stewards who will examine it after the race.
I'm just going to quickly add up very simple maths. And the standings so far are you are out in the lead with 22 points. I am trailing you with 15 points. So I'm still behind you. And you pulled away again. Well done, mate. Well done.
Everything's still to play for?
Yeah. I'm starting to feel like I'm driving a Ferrari at the moment, and it's all disappearing in front of me. Okay, so where are we heading to next time out then?
We are off to those United States of that there America, the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas.
Ooh, okay.
Would you like some stats?
Yeah, go on, hit me.
Okay. The actual stats. Pole position last year was Lewis Hamilton. Fastest lap was Sebastian Vettel. Podium was Hamilton from Rosberg from Ricciardo. And in terms of total wins and so forth, let's see if we can find that. Well, the problem is, obviously, it gives me the total winners for all of the races that were in the United States. So that includes Indianapolis and everything. Oh. So it's kind of meaningless. So I'll ignore that.
Okay.
Well, I will tell you.
Go on.
Since it's been at the Circuit of Americas, Mercedes has won it 4 times.
Right. That's every time then, isn't it?
No, it's been done 5 times.
Oh, who won the first one then? Oh, sorry, who won the other one?
Sebastian Vettel.
In the Red Bull?
Yes.
Okay. Right, okay, qualifying and race.
Oh, and I should also qualify, just very briefly, one of those Mercedes was a McLaren Mercedes. The 2012 one, Lewis Hamilton won it in the McLaren.
Lewis Hamilton, and he had to wear the Stetson on the podium.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Had to. I don't think you could take it off of him.
Yeah, he does kind of love all that stuff, doesn't he?
Did you see him trying to steal Takuma Sato's Indy ring?
Oh man, yes. That was the first thing you noticed. But
I was wondering, was that a subtle hint that maybe I want to give Indianapolis a try?
It must be in his mind. It really must be. And you can't blame... the thing with Americans and handing out rings, I didn't even know that they handed out a ring for the Indianapolis 500. When did that start?
That's the sort of shit that's probably been going along since day one.
It probably has, and I'm just sounding awfully...
Because, they do it with the Super Bowl, don't they? The winning teams get rings and everything there. So.
Yeah, I knew that, but... when did IndyCar turn around and say, "Oh, do you know what? We need to start giving out rings." American listeners, let us know what happens, please. Is this on everything?
Possibly. I'd
really like to know. Is it for baseball? Is it for basketball? I don't know. Okay, see, it was. I like Takuma Sato when he was up there. He had a good presence about him. The guy driving can be very hit or miss, and he normally does hit stuff. So I'm not his biggest race fan, but as a personality, he's all right, and he's harmless, and he came across very well, I thought. So I'd be quite happy to see him. He was also driving one of the old Hondas around the circuit as well before the race. It
was the Williams, wasn't it?
I think Damon Hill was driving the Williams.
Was it Damon Hill, was it?
Yeah.
I know they did the Williams Honda was going around.
Yeah, I think Damon Hill was driving the Williams, but yeah. Anyway, okay, so predictions for the United States Grand Prix. Qualifying. Right, I'm going to go first because I'm behind, as per normal. Oh, man. Do I want the points or do I want someone to win? I don't know. Sorry.
You must search your feelings.
Hamilton for pole position.
Hamilton for pole position, eh?
What about yourself?
Okay, well... just to mix it up a bit, shall we? I'll go with Danny Rick.
Oh, nice. Nice choice. That's possible.
No, it's not.
Okay, race. I'm going with Vettel.
Oh, I'll go with Hamilton then.
Then you
don't want
Hamilton.
a point.
No, I'll let you have that. Third column. What should we do? Because we do have 2 titles ready to be won.
Yeah, let's not do the title one because that just seems overly obvious.
What about Sainz? What about his finish position? Because he's going to be in a new car, isn't he?
Ooh, how about let's do Sainz and also let's do Kvyat.
Okay. What, finishing positions?
Yeah, let's put 2 points on the board.
Okay. So Sainz and Kvyat and finishing positions, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let you choose first on both of these.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just pulling up last year's stats just to see where they both did finish. Sorry, I'd found another page about championship rings. Apparently it's just an American thing in general. I'll share that with you afterwards, though, so you can look. Okay, so last year...
Is he going to be a Luca Badoa?
Who, Kvyat?
Yeah. No, Sainz in the Renault.
I don't know. Well, I'm going to tell you where they both finished last year. So last year, Kvyat finished 11th. Sainz finished 6th.
Okay.
So, I'm just trying to see. What was the top finishing Renault last time out? That would have been... That was Magnussen, who was 12th last time. I am going to go, controversially, I'm going to say Sainz is going to finish... I want to say Sainz to finish 6th again. Yeah.
6th? Oh,
yeah, let's go 6th. And Kvyat, I'm going to say DNF.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm going to go with Sainz. This is bang on, isn't it?
Bang on.
None
of this nearest to pin bollocks now.
Okay. I'm going to say Sainz 9th. And Kvyat 12th. There you go. Right, that is written down in pen, so that cannot be rubbed out. Ever, ever, ever. So, okay, right, I want to get your opinions on this track. What do you think of it? Do you like this circuit?
I think I do. I've certainly enjoyed some of the races. Was it 2015 where Hamilton ran Rosberg right out at the first corner? Mm-hmm. That was quite a bit of fun. Yeah, so I think I certainly think I prefer over Indianapolis.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah, Indianapolis was too flat. No elevation at all.
The problem I find is when you get to this part of the season, with the exception of Suzuka and Brazil, 9 times out of 10, things are more or less sewn up.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it might be, they don't know who is the drivers, but it's between 1 or 2 people. You already know who the constructors are at this point. It kind of gets to that point where you're still watching the races, but you're not really as invested in them.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say I switch off, but, I'm certainly not like I was on the edge of my seat. Again, I love still watching the races at Suzuka and in Brazil for those circuits, but, this, Mexico and Abu Dhabi, I'm just usually a bit,
I'd rather watch this than Mexico. I haven't been impressed with Mexico at all. I feel that they've kind of destroyed that circuit. Just by that Sporting Dome section that destroys that last corner. So, I think I like this circuit. I I struggle with it though. I want to like it. I don't think we've had very impressive races. I think the race where Hamilton barged Nico off, that was the most exciting one here.
Yeah.
But I remember I think the first one was a bit of a dull one. I think last year's was a bit dull as well. I don't know. It has potential. It really does have potential. But there's something about it that I don't like. I don't know why.
Is it the Stetsons?
No, I'm quite happy with them. I'm quite
Okay.
happy. Yeah, I like all the pomp that goes along with Americans. I love them. Honestly, I would love to go over to America and meet every single American out there. I think they're brilliant. I love the way that they're so over the top with everything. And I love it. I just love all the big fireworks and the big parties that they put on. It just...
You'll have no argument for me. I'm dating one, so...
So, yeah, I love all that sort of stuff. Do you think what constructor or the Drivers' Championship, do you reckon either of these will be sewn up this weekend or this time out?
I don't think the drivers will be sewn up, but I do think it will become a Vettel has to win and Lewis has to not score in Mexico.
Yeah.
Or certainly something along those lines. You know, we're certainly approaching that point, in my estimation.
Right.
So, yeah, we will see, but I do not hold out too much hope that we will. I don't think this thing's going to go down to the wire at Abu Dhabi.
No. Okay, where do you reckon it's going to be sewn up?
Well,
we've got 4 races left. We've got
America, Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi.
Okay, whereabouts?
Assuming Ferrari are able to effectively start the race, firing on all cylinders, I'd say Brazil.
Complete the first lap.
Yeah, I'd say Brazil.
You reckon it's going to be done in Brazil? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think in Brazil to Hamilton. I just even if Hamilton has a DNF in one of the next 4 races.
Oh, if he does it in Brazil.
Oh, fuck. Oh,
yeah,
God, no.
Look, don't even have to say, do we? It was meant to be. God made me do it. Jesus. Okay,
I just look forward to your witty retort on Twitter, then.
Look, I think he's definitely going to win it. I think he's got one hand on that title already, if not 2 hands on that title.
He's already measuring out the display case for it.
Yeah, I think he has.
Of course, he's got to get it back from Rosberg, hasn't he?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, that would be a fight I'd want to see. But on results and performance this season, Mercedes definitely deserve it. And from his results and the way that he's conducted himself, Lewis deserves it. Vettel has been a bit childish in points. He's also screwed things up royally at stages as well. He could have had at least another win under his belt, if not 2.
He's been very impetuous on a couple of occasions, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Old Vettel, and it's very strange because it's like, given how, and I'm finger quoting again here, mature he is. Again, he's been at this game for a while now. You wouldn't expect this sort of stuff from him.
No, it's as if he was handed 4 trophies on a plate and then thought that he was the bee's knees, and then all of a sudden it's coming crashing down and realising, hang on, you got to do something as well. Now, I know that they weren't just handed to him, because 2 of them he really did have to fight for, but the other 2 were pretty fucking easy for him to pick up.
I mean, let's face it, that Red Bull was the dominant car of its time. And, it always helps when you have a dominant car.
It does, yeah. And Lewis Hamilton has that car at the moment.
Yep.
And Ferrari.
But I'll say that this year at least, it's been more of a challenge. It's not just been a fight between the two Mercedes drivers.
Yeah, which has been interesting. I think you definitely need two teams fighting it out.
Two, ideally three.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The more the merrier. The more the merrier. I do like the inter-team wars that we had with Nico and Lewis, but it can wear thin as well.
Oh, yeah.
It can wear thin. So I think Hamilton will win it in Mexico. I think it'll be done by Mexico. And so you'll have the last two races for Valtteri Bottas to win. To get him above Vettel. So there we go. Right, anything else to say on this race or the race coming up?
No, nothing off the top of my head, to be honest. We'll see what will come into the US. I don't think we're going to see. I don't think. I think you're probably going to find Ferrari going to be very conservative in their approach. I don't think they're prone to go on an attack at this point. I think they're going to try and focus more on reliability and just trying to get the cars back home, ideally first and second, but more realistically second and whatever.
Yeah.
With the hopes that, there might be some question over Lewis's engine. He was complaining about vibrations. He thought it was the engine. The team think it was the tyres. We'll see. But yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Is he due a retirement? I'm struggling to remember when he.
Sorry, I'm just got some breaking news here. Honda.
Yeah.
Who he raced for, who Gasly races for in Super Formula, have said he should race in Formula One.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which actually, when you think about it, makes sense because he will be a Honda driver next year, won't he?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, if you were Gasly, would you want that title in your man?
Fuck the title.
Yeah?
Meaningless. Fuck it. All respect to it, it's a feeder formula for Formula One.
It is. And if you got a contract for next year saying that you're going to be driving for them, wouldn't you want the title anyway?
No, because I'd want to get as much time in as I can in a Formula One car.
Yeah.
Especially given how limited testing is.
That's true.
And he's already got a GP2 championship.
That's true. Okay, yeah, fair enough. You've persuaded me.
Plus, you have that, and again, the more Machiavellian side of me, you kind of rob the person who wins it of legitimacy.
In what way, sorry?
Well, because, yes, you won, but you only won because I didn't show up.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Right. Oh, yeah.
It's a dick move.
Yeah.
But it'll always be in the back of someone's head.
Yeah, I could have won it if I wanted to.
Basically.
Yeah. Okay, fair play. Right. Okay, I think we should round it up there. If you want to listen to us talk about other stuff, where can they find us, Andy?
RogueTwoMedia.com, I believe.
Yes.
Where you can listen to us talking about such delights as the Band of Brothers and occasionally appearing on Shonky Lab with you, talking about stuff.
Oh, we're going to be doing one soon as well, aren't we, about the MCM Expo?
Yes, we're going to go to MCM and we'll do something about Comic-Con and cosplaying, which we do from time to time. I'm still trying to get Elton to do it, though, so, maybe
it's not going to happen.
Oh, I've just had a brilliant idea. What we need to do is get you one of those kind of like, get some race overalls.
Yeah.
And get like a cardboard car held on with some braces. That'd be awesome.
I would do it if I can have one of them hats, the Japanese guys have in the stands where they have the DRS that flaps open and closed on their hat.
I will find you that hat. I will make this thing happen.
I love them. I think them hats are wicked.
Well, there you go. If we need to get a Patreon going. We've got a Patreon, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
If you people donate to a Patreon, we can get Elton that hat.
Oh, jeez. Be nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice. Where else can I hear you? You talk about spaceships at some point, don't you?
I occasionally speak about spaceships and stuff to do with spaceships on Space Doc Jury with Lee Metcalf and Peter Ogden. We've just done an episode about the new Star Trek series, Star Trek Discovery. So if you want to jot on over there, you can hear our rather extensive thoughts. We also recently did one on Muirville, so you can choose your poison there.
Exactly, yeah. Very good episodes, by the way. And you've also got a non-spoilery cast about the new Blade Runner film on there as well.
Yes, that was on Blade Runner, which I was going to let you just do as part of your Black Dog thingy. But yeah, I snuck into the Black Dog HQ and we recorded some feedback with Lee. And we're going to do another one tomorrow because we enjoyed the film so much. We're going to go see it again.
Well done. I'm so pleased for you guys that it was good. So I kind of mopped my brow and was like, whew, thank God for that.
I'm not lying. There was a moment before we were going into there, we're like, so if this is bad, Suicide Pact, yeah?
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, one under. You can also catch me on the Black Dog podcast, which has put out the exact same episode on a different feed, isn't it? Is that what?
Yes, basically.
Okay.
We just uploaded it on both feeds.
Well done. Oh, don't blame you. Why not get the hits? Why not? Please pop along to blackdogpodcast.com and you can catch us talking about lots and lots of different films. This week, which will be released on Wednesday morning, we are talking about the 2004 film Saw. Because
this is your pick, isn't it?
This is my choice. Yeah. I actually get to choose one for once, which is nice. So yeah, it's I forgot my train of thought there. Yeah, just pop over there and grab all them. It is in our weeks of horror.
Indeterminate weeks of horror.
Thank you. I never remember that. It's the horror month, isn't it? It's October, so it's horror month. What have we just done? We just done American Werewolf in London, and so we're doing Saw this time round. You can also catch me and Andy on the Band of Brothers podcast. We have 2 episodes of that left. We hopefully get that done before the end of the year, because it needs to be done by the end of the year, because we might be doing something else in the new year. So we shall see what happens with that. And you can also catch me on Shonkylab, which is shonkylab.com. And this week, on Wednesday, I'm going live and we're recording about breakfasts. So if you're interested in breakfast, please pop along to the Mixler page, which is mixler.com/RogueTwoMedia. And you can catch us in the chat room and listen in live. And you can also Skype in as well. All the details are over there on the Facebook groups and all that stuff. And he did mention a Patreon. We do have a Patreon if you go to RogueTwoMedia.com, and you'll find all the clicks and links over there with all the other shows as well. And you can find all the details there. So,
I think you need to set a tier where if you reach it, you will find Jodie Palmer and tell him what you think of him to his face. Because I will pay for that.
I'm sure there's a queue. I'm sure if I just step outside my house, I'll just join the back of the queue. It must be that long. And it's probably stretching over to Japan as we speak. Where do you reckon he is right now?
Crying in a hotel room.
I didn't ask what he was doing. I'm just wondering where he's doing it.
I don't know. Some Japanese brothel, perhaps.
Probably, yeah.
No, his dad wouldn't let him do that, would he?
No. He might. He might just stand over him, though. Watch him. No, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
This got dark all of a sudden.
It did, yeah. Working out. Okay, let's pull the ripcord on this one. Thank you to everyone for listening. Thank you to everyone for downloading and all your rates and reviews as well. So until the American Grand Prix in Texas, we'll say goodbye. And bye, Jolien. Bye-bye, Jolien.
Bye-bye.
Especially if October's got a problem, because 2.8 has become 1.9 in the space of a lap. So that's going to happen, isn't it?